As always, I don't monetize anything. This is an attempt to find the remains of a missing person. So I want to look at these comments. This is Wrath screenshots, but he is also using known information to attempt to find a missing person. He finds a lot suspicious about Shary's comments. Well, I honestly don't. I keep an open mind. I've looked at all of her stuff, about the past year, and nobody is immune. If I saw anything suspicious, I would say it. So let me go over a few things. Now, if anything is suspicious, this would be it. This is Susan Veach, where she says, not sure if you had this, but this is the original news report of Kenny missing. Look at the date, 11/22. And they say in the comments, Kenny had been missing 10 days. Well, that was after it hit the news. That was after it hits the news. They don't put missing persons in right away unless it's really something like a family goes missing. Then they may do it. Shary said she reported missing after a few days, which she did. Vicky and the family was upset. She waited over a week to contact them and file a missing persons report. Okay, now Shary said, I knew him better than anyone did, and she also said the family was, they weren't really that close. They had their own lives. Kenny was a known loner. He would do everything alone and go off on hikes and not necessarily checking in with Shary. She was not a wife sitting at home and then the husband doesn't show up after 2 days. Well, where is he? No, she wasn't his babysitter. They were both older. And so one funny thing is that they blame Shary. They blame Shary, and yet they were the family. Technically, Shary was not family. And Kenny had messaged his brother, apparently just before his hike. I'm not exactly sure when it was. His younger brother, and messaged him about the hike. Well, where was the brother? Why didn't he say to Kenny, okay, check back in as soon as you get back into phone range and check in? Well, why didn't his brother do that? Why didn't his older brother do that? Why didn't Susan Veach do that? They didn't, and yet they blame her, even though they were living separate lives in separate houses at that time. And then they put everything on her because it sounds mysterious. So I find that suspicious, not what Shary said. It's not like I'm defending Shary like I'm in love with her or she's my wife or something like that. No, she would be no different to me. If I saw anything suspicious or that has information, I would say so. But anyway, I find that suspicious. And then the other thing is that she says Kenny would have a very slim chance of surviving 8 days without water. Now listen to what she says. So she deliberately waited so the narrative would be, God damn it. Now she knows this. She doesn't suspect it. She says she knows it. So she deliberately waited so the narrative would be he was already dead or near death before she reported it. She says Shary has lied from the very beginning. Where is that evidence? Shary has lied from the very beginning, so it shows a bias against Shary. If she was so concerned, she would not have waited that long. She didn't wait 8 days. No. She was the one that notified them, and then the family didn't know or care what he was doing. And then she says, but she knew he was safe and sound at home. She knows this. Okay, she knows this. Now, I find that suspicious. Okay, now let's go on to Shary. I won't go over every word. It's a good upload by Wrath, But she says, sad to say, no news at all. When the search and rescue teams were looking for him, they will continue as they look for current missing individuals in the same area. Well, she said same area. And also the searchers may have said that, knowing that, okay, it's been days, we know it's hopeless, and so what we will tell the loved ones, is that we often find people, you know, sometimes years later as we're searching for other people. And so they said same area, okay, to give her some solace or whatever you want to call it. And she says, they said that several years ago that they found a missing person 5 years after they had gone missing while they were looking for someone else. So I keep thinking one day we will hear something. Okay, now as far as Eric the hiker and where Wrath kind of made it seem like everybody's gone up there to the Veach area and has gone missing, as if there's a bunch of bodies laying all over the place in the same area. They could have meant anything. They could have meant the desert around Las Vegas. That Shary said, same area. Well, that could mean anything. In other words, they want to give her hope as to, so that she can feel that they're searching the same area. When in fact they would do their searches and maybe we'll find him someday. Now that it's confirmed he's likely dead, but we'll keep our eyes open. That's all I read into that. The Eric the hiker, there's no documented evidence that I know of who Eric the hiker was. And if he had been, quote, in the same area looking for Kenny Veach and gets killed up there, where was the car? Where was the car like Kenny Veach's car was parked? Where was the car? What about the missing car where somebody reports Eric the hiker missing? And they go up there, sure enough, there's a car, they go up and search, and he fell off of a cliff searching for Kenny Veach. There was no car missing, no Eric the hiker reported missing. So it could mean a vast area. Eric the hiker, I'm not sure, but I thought Eric the hiker, the text back and forth that he was down in Arizona. Not up at Kenny Veach. They would have found a car. There would have been relatives reported him missing, and they would have went up there. So where was the car? So there's no evidence that Eric the hiker is up there dead. This is Gene Lukowski. Nobody knows who he is. Let's see. I think that's pretty much it. Let's look at this one. Oh, yeah, I already did that one. So that's it. But there's no smoking gun there like Wrath viciously accusing someone. No, not at all. His comments and other people's possible suspicions I consider them reasonable. But they also have to remember that when a person goes missing, well, they jump on whoever and say, why didn't you report him missing sooner? As if every hike, a brother, sister, whoever, that Kenny Veach, known to do things alone, doing high-risk hikes where he said he was going to go for 45 miles and live for days up in the desert. Well, after 3 days, they don't necessarily go running to the cops, report him as a missing person. You can't do that. You know, it's just not done. And so now, later, after it turns out he's, likely died up there, then everyone jumps on the so-called last person to see him alive and blame them. They were not living together. She was not no wife living in his house where he didn't return home. That would be different. Kenny Veach was doing his own thing. He did it alone. And he could have been gone 4 days, which would be reasonable. Kind of like what he said in his message. That would be reasonable. There would be no reason after 2 days to crucify Shary because she didn't send out the National Guard after 2 or 3 days. But anyway, that's it.